Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am Kyle Jellings. This is the Neighborhood Watch on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We have Public Information Officer Shirley Miller, and we have Stevenson Ranch Zone Leader Deputy Duxbury, and of course Jessica Boyer joining us. Boyer, I just learned. It's actually Boyer. No, that's not true. But we do this every couple of times a month, and it's just about raising awareness and crime prevention and community programs here in the Santa Clarita Valley in conjunction with the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Station Department. Now, last week we just had Deputy Duxbury on. We have Shirley Miller back. Hello. And we appreciate you coming back. That we didn't scare you away, which is good news.
Not yet.
Not yet. There's certainly still time for that. But you are the Public Information Officer.
Yes.
So can we talk about, let's reintroduce you. You were on a couple weeks, about a month ago now. Mm-hmm. So let's reintroduce you. So you are the new PIO for the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Station. What is your background? You just recently got this position, but what is your background? Did you grow up here? What's your background?
No. I'm actually from back east. I'm from Florida, and I was a journalism major in college. Actually, my major was in radio television. Oh. And I did a lot of freelance writing for newspapers, and I worked at a AM station in Florida, WCCF, 1580 AM. I think it's currently owned by the iHeartMedia Group.
Okay.
And then I interned at a news station, WBBH, in Fort Myers. So to make a long story short, I moved to California in the 90s, and I first started thinking about joining the Sheriff's Department when I had contact with a community relations sergeant. I started getting a real interest in law enforcement. I started taking criminal justice, criminal law classes, and I was hired on by Santa Clarita Station in 2001. And I've been there ever since. And
you were doing just community outreach stuff? What were you doing at the start when you first started?
I have worked a variety of assignments at Santa Clarita Station. My assignment prior, I've just been in this PIO job for a couple of weeks. Prior to that, I worked as a secondhand dealer business liaison, working with all of our businesses in the Santa Clarita Valley that have secondhand dealer business licenses, and just having a contact person for them at the Sheriff's Station, and also helping look for stolen property through pawn transactions. It was a very busy job, but I'm really excited about this job because I feel that it takes both of my interests and kind of combines them together, having the interest in journalism and media and then mixing that with law enforcement. It seems like the ideal combo.
Fantastic. And okay, so can you maybe run through a little bit of your responsibilities now as the Public Information Officer? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? You come on the radio, which is one thing.
Yeah.
But what else? What other things do you do on a day-to-day basis?
I act as a liaison between the media and the Sheriff's Department. And part of my duties involve sending out press releases and just coordinating things with the media. There's just a lot of things that happen on a daily basis, and also dealing with the social media accounts.
Okay.
Twitter, Facebook.
So you make sure that the public gets the information, is what you're saying. The public information.
Yes, that they get the information from a verified, accurate source.
Fantastic.
And also that I can help work with the media in getting them the information that they need.
Fantastic, awesome, and we also have Deputy Duxbury. Deputy, this is you were kind of the co-host, but now you got shoved out by Shirley.
Yeah,
Shirley,
I still want him to come.
It was an arm wrestling match. And Shirley won, is what happened, right? Or maybe she lost, I'm not sure. No. But you are over the Stevenson Ranch. You're part of the Crime Prevention Unit.
Yes.
Right? And so can you explain a little bit of what the Crime Prevention Unit is here in the Santa Clarita Valley?
The city is divided up into 8 zones. Each zone has a deputy assigned to that zone. And we basically work as like a liaison for that zone so that people living in a certain area have a deputy that they can call directly and talk to if they have any questions or concerns. And then the CPU as a whole, what we do is we monitor all the reports that come out of our sector. And if we start noticing a trend in crimes in a certain area, the whole team will come together to do, just some kind of surveillance or a secret squirrel mission or something like that to try and.
Did you say secret squirrel mission?
Secret squirrel mission.
Is that an official term? Because that's awesome. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, and so you are in charge of the Stevenson Ranch.
Stevenson Ranch is my zone, right?
Yeah, and there's 8 different zones. Speaking of zones, there's a way you can know what's going on in your zone, and I'm actually going to have Jessica Boyer explain that a little bit. The NIXL program, NIXLE, is a cool thing that the sheriff's station does. You can get text messages, and you explain it, Jessica. Jessica, what's the NIXL?
It's a way for Shirley to get out press releases and information, as well as the other, the LASD headquarters and the Palmdale sheriffs. Everyone can use that to put out information about what's going on in the community, whether it be events or a missing person or just any crime going on. So you can sign up for that. If you go to nixle.com, you can sign up and you can choose what kind of press releases you want. What station you want, what area you want to be under, and then you can also get text messages and emails. So you can be notified any way you want, really.
Text messages constantly going off in the newsroom, trying to get information about whatever is going on in the Santa Clarita Valley. And you can have it broken down by zone, which is an awesome thing. If you live in Canyon Country, you can set it up to only get Canyon Country text messages and stuff like that. So it's a really cool thing that the Sheriff's Department does out here. We're going to take a break. We have a lot of cool stuff to talk about, actually, today. Normally, kind of some scary stuff, but we have some cool stuff we're going to talk about today. We got some tips coming up next. It's summertime. It's hot. And we need to know what to do to stay safe here in the Santa Clarita Valley with all our hiking trails and all of those things as well. But we got a cool story, not in the next segment, but you're going to want to stick around because we got a really cool story about one of our sheriff's deputies. So make sure you stick around. This is the Neighborhood Watch on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, presented by All American Bail Bonds. Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, Neighborhood Watch, presented by All American Bail Bonds on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We're also streaming live at hometownstation.com and also on the free KHTS app. Go to your Google Play and your App Store and download your free KHTS app today. Just search KHTS. Deputy Duxbury, do I call you PIO Miller? Do you have a shortened name? Or do I just call you Shirley Miller?
You can call me Shirley. You can call me Miller, PIO.
Miller. Okay. I feel like
don't ask Duxbury he may come up with some nickname.
Oh, okay. Noted. Okay.
Don't call me late for tacos.
Yeah, late for tacos. There you go. Okay, so it's hot outside. It's summertime. It's time to go out and go hiking. There is, it's also a drought season. Well, not drought season. It's been drought for quite some time now here in California. And you were talking to somebody at the Placerita Nature Center, Jessica.
I was
about
talking to
something.
Ranger Frank.
Ranger Frank, our buddy, Ranger Frank.
Yeah, he's the best.
He gave us a bucket for water conservation.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
fantastic.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Okay, but you were talking to him about something going on at the Placerita Nature Center and stuff, and some tips and stuff like that.
A neighbor came up to my mom the other day and said, "Hey, my dog got eaten by a coyote."
Yeah.
Which is awful. And I mean, you don't really expect that when you're in the comfort of your own home. You let your dog out to go to the bathroom and you think they're going to be fine. And I was talking to Ranger Frank, and he was telling me that a lot of wild animals, whether it be, birds, squirrels, raccoons, coyotes, are coming down from the mountains because there's no water. And they see your pool or your dog's water bowl or your dog's food or even bird feeders. They're attracted to the animals that go up to those.
I don't know if you saw the story in Lecanada, Flint Ridge last week. There was a lady who went outside and there was a bear in her pool.
I saw that.
You know what? I saw that on the news this morning.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you do in that situation? And that actually leads us to if there is a large animal or something like that, or coyote, like a pack of coyotes, do they travel in packs? I don't
Sometimes.
know. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So, what would you guys recommend? If you see a bear in your backyard, or you see a coyote that's trying to get into your
Mountain
backyard,
lions
Don't try to
also-
approach it and pet it.
they may be fluffy, but
Right. Yeah, you do not want to approach bears. And Deputy Duxbury, would you agree, one of the most important things is when that fear factor sets in, don't run.
Yeah, well, don't panic. The one thing that all these animals, coyotes, bears, jackrabbits, whatever you have in your yard, are very sensible to is loud noise. And I know my in-laws, they just keep one of those portable air horns right on their back patio, and they just chirp that, and that'll usually, and when I'm working, I get a lot of coyote calls at night. And the same thing, I can chirp the air horn on the car, and they usually just take off. So it's, Yeah, they don't like noises. They don't like things that are bigger than them. The one that's more sensitive than coyotes are very timid. They don't tend to attack people. They will go after your
sometimes
pets.
I think when they're in a pack, though, they probably get a little more brazen, don't they?
Maybe a little more aggressive, maybe a little braver.
Especially maybe if it's in the evening time and you're walking your dog, like you just said.
Exactly.
Deputy, that's probably something you need to worry
Yeah,
about.
the bears, too, they tend to be very susceptible to noise. We don't see a lot of those except more up in Castaic, but probably the mountain lions are the ones you got to be the most careful of. They tend to be a little more aggressive and not so intimidated by you. So, that's just important to know.
Right. And with mountain lions, you want to send them the message that you are not prey. So don't try to hide by getting down on all fours. If anything, you want to make yourself appear taller than you really are. If that means taking your jacket off and holding it up above your head, giving yourself a bigger presence, that will intimidate the mountain lion.
And then they can
Fantastic.
always call the animal control as well.
Yes.
Correct?
911 works though if you, if you
911
need
works
to.
if there's a bear or a mountain lion in your
you
backyard.
guys know how to reach them too. Sure. But so going along with that, animals are not only for some reason it gets hot. Animals come down from the mountains and people go up for some reason. And it's the time of year to hike, right? It's the time of year where people go and hike. We just heard the story a couple weeks ago. Was it last week?
Oh,
where
yeah,
the deputy,
last Saturday.
the deputy had to save the
hiker.
little girl, and then we had some hikers get lost and stuff like that. What are some tips that we can, people, I think we share this pretty much every time during the summer, but, it needs to be kept being said because it keeps happening. But what do people need to do to keep themselves safe and, have a fun time rather than end up having to call the sheriffs and get rescued?
Well, definitely you're going to notify somebody that you're leaving. Make sure you know where you're going. Make sure you have proper supplies like, adequate water and first aid kit and, good communication of some kind. Your cell phone's fully charged, that type of thing. One thing we talked about last time also was when you hit the trails, before you hit the trails, look behind you. Look for a big landmark that you can see, like the mountains to the north or the Magic Mountain Tower or something like that. So if you do get lost on the trails, to just look for that landmark and,
Head towards it.
Head straight towards it, and that'll get you out.
Don't use breadcrumbs to do it because the animals
Because then you'll get chased by animals. Yeah.
Right. And the weather's a big part of it because, like last week when we were in triple digits, I would strongly discourage anyone from hiking in 107-degree temperatures. I don't care how much water you're bringing, how much, sunscreen and hats and umbrellas and whatever else you bring. That's just too dangerous to be up in those mountains in that kind of heat.
Yeah.
So
Right. And that's why one of the tips that we put on our Santa Clarita Sheriff Station Facebook page on hiking tips, try to avoid in the summer heat hiking between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. That is when it is the hottest outside. And as Deputy Duxbury was saying, just don't do that. Don't go out when it's that hot.
And even, I don't know, you guys can tell me, but I would avoid even the evening time too, because maybe if you do get lost, the sun goes down and then you have problems as well.
something else
So
you gotta
early
be-
morning would
yeah,
probably
that's
be.
you have to be aware of
Bring a flashlight if
your
it's gonna
daylight
be dark.
hours. You got to know when that sun's going to set and make sure you're far enough out.
Awesome. All right, the next segment, we're going to take a quick break. This is the Neighborhood Watch, sponsored by All American Bail Bonds. But coming up next, we got a cool story, an awesome story about it. It started off bad, but it ended up really good. So we're going to talk about that next. Some pool safety stuff as well. This is the Neighborhood Watch, presented by All American Bail Bonds on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.